Welcome to Brand Builders TV. Deep dive topics, tools and resources brought to you by global thought leaders from within the Brand Builders Club. This show gives you access to the strategies that you can use to move forward with ease and flow in every area of your life and business. In today's show, Sammy is going to share the 3 V's of personal brand building. Learn it, model it, and get shit done. Let's go. Hello and welcome to Brand Builders TV. I'm very excited to be taking you through the personal branding process today after receiving a brilliant question about how to build a personal brand. Let me see if I can find this question for you. And if you've got any questions as we go through this training, do please let me know. And maybe you've got a question that's burning for you around brand or how to build a brand or what you can do specifically to be able to grow and expand from where you are to where you want to be. So if you've got any questions, please do put them in the comments here and I'll make sure that I create future shows for you based on that. So this question is from Joe in Swansea, and Joe says, I started my business almost 9 months ago and I started off really well, but I'm really lacking direction. And I think it's because I've got a business, but I don't have a personal brand. What is the best process for me to start building my personal brand? Thank you, love, Joe. Well, Joe, you're in luck because I've got a little system that I'm going to share with you this morning that will help you to get focused and in the right zone to build a personal brand. Because with a lot of these things, the mindset that you go into it with will make a big difference to the energy that you create around the personality of your business. But also, if you are like Joe and you're thinking about building your personal brand as well as the business brand, then that's what we're going to discuss in today's show. Now, the thing is that what I find most is when I'm working with people on their brand or I'm delivering a brand audit, for example, what will happen is they'll usually tell me that they've focused all of their attention on the business and they forgot that they also needed to build their personal brand. So if that is you, if you've spent a lot of your time focused on building your business instead of your personal brand, let me know in the comments so that I can work with you on this, because I love to work live when I can. And certainly whether you're watching me on YouTube or on Facebook, which is the 2 channels that we tend to go live from, then you definitely put your comments below. I'll do whatever I can to support you going forward. So one of the ways that I learned the importance of personal branding was after I'd been working with many hundreds of businesses by that point, going back to maybe about 2013, when I was getting ready to sell our business. We'd been going through a process of selling our business for 2 years. We didn't like any of the people that we were being introduced to. They didn't share the same values as us, and we really cared about the care of our customers. These people have become our friends, and I don't know about you, but I just break the rules where it comes to friends in business. I'd rather break the rules and make a mistake once in a while and it not work out than to not give myself fully to a relationship. And for me, I think it's so important that you have great relationships with your clients. Hi, Una. Because you're spending a lot of time with those people. Sometimes you're spending more time with your clients than you even are with your husband or wife or your family. So it's really important to me that anyone that I work with, I have a non-negotiable value, and this is my questioning around whether I take a client on or not. And I guess this is totally connected to my personal brand, is that I will not do business or take money from somebody when I'm working on a one-to-one basis or in Brand Builders Club, for example, unless I would invite them to my boat for a drink. If I wouldn't invite them into my home, I don't see why I would invite them into my business. So that's a non-negotiable value that I have. Una, maybe you have that as well. And for those of you that are tuning in, what's your non-negotiable value? Like, how do you choose your customers? Because I think a lot of the time we project this energy around our brands that we want to attract as many people as possible, and so we put lots and lots of messages out there to attract people to our brands, So it's almost like we're expecting them to choose us. But actually, we need to get very focused. If you're going to build your brand, especially as an influencer, a key person of influence, you want to make sure that you're building your brand in a way that you are non-negotiable about who you'll work with and what you'll accept and what you won't. And oh, good. Fabulous, Una. Glad that this is on track as a subject for you today. So here's the thing, where it comes to you building a business brand and a personal brand at the same time, it's just about making a commitment and a decision to how you're going to show up. So when I sold my business in 2013, ended up moving out to France. And when I got out there, I had no intention of setting up a business ever again. If you've heard my story before, then you'll know that there was just no way I was even going to set a business up. So I moved to one of the most remote parts of France with very little broadband, no intention of doing anything in the world of business again. But my creative brain started going again. And it was then when I looked at what was I going to do, how was I going to do it, and I ultimately, without telling the whole story, I chose to launch How to Build a Brand. And it was then that I realized that I didn't have a personal brand. So we're only going back like just under 8 years ago. So I'd built all these amazing business brands, and I'd been building personal and business brands for other people for years. But it wasn't until I was in a position that I was about to start to launch my business, a new business, with me being at the forefront of that. Everything had been about the business and the team before. All of a sudden, this was about me being the face of the business. How many of you watching this now are the face of your business? You're not just kind of behind the business, you're actually the face of it as well. And how many of you would like to be even more prominent as the face of your business, that you want to really build that personal brand and create lots of business opportunities off the back of that? Do let me know in the comments so I know whereabouts you are on your business journey. Well, that's where I was. So what I realized was I'd sold the business, I sold the list, I sold the products, I sold everything. When I exchanged that paperwork, I sold all of my contacts as well. So there was no way that I could reach out to anybody. So here I am in a remote part of France with no list, about to start a brand new business online. And I just thought, crikey, I haven't actually put any effort or energy at all into building my own personal brand. So my personal brand was really good. It was really high personal brand with the people that I knew, but nobody knew me outside of those circles, and I couldn't contact those circles anymore. So the key thing is to really make sure that even if you're building your business brand, that you are still building your personal brand behind the business. People do business with people that they know, like, and trust. If one of you could copy that into the comments for me. People do business with people they know, like, and trust. So ultimately, no matter what business you're building, you're always building a personal brand at the beginning of that business journey, because it's probably you that's going to be having the conversations about contracts and proposals and doing pitches and winning opportunities. But as you grow your business, if you see yourself getting to a point where actually you want everybody else in the business to do it and you don't want to be doing any of this yourself, then again, you need to think about, where's your brand going to land? Your brand of today, where is that going to land in 10 years from now, 100 years from now? What's your 100-year legacy? Because you might think, well, actually, when I die, my business is going to die with me. No intention of growing it. I just want to create a nice income. Or like Una, you might be on one hell of a mission to build a movement around humanity and to create funds and raise money and raise mass awareness. Well, you're still running a business even though you're doing that. So it's really important that you still continue to build your personal brand. So there's 3 V's that I want you to consider and do some work on as you start to think about how you're going to build your brand on this next stage of your journey. So depending on what sort of business you're building, whether you're building a business where you see there might be a network marketing element of your business at some point, getting lots of other people to promote the work that you're doing, or you might look at that model. We looked at that model for Brand Builders Club, not turning it into a network marketing model, but we looked at how do network marketers build all of these teams underneath them, like how do they do it? And so we mapped out the characteristics of those people, and we invested in wealth dynamics, and we put all of our team members through that process so we could see how is it that they think about business and money, and how do we need to build the team around them so that they each have their personal brands and their own personal businesses, but together we are growing Brand Builders Club. So that was a big part of the strategy, was looking at, okay, so how can we create a unique business model where we take all the bits of all the things that we like and bring them into one business, so it's not one fixed entity as such. And the important thing behind that was then, okay, so the personal brands are the brands that are going to drive it. So here are the 3 V's for you to consider as you go on this next step of your journey. So, oh, lovely. Thank you very much, Ruth. Hello, Ruth. So, so the first V is having a really strong vision for what you want your personal brand to be, do, and have in the spectrum of your business, because your business can totally take over your life. How many of you recognize that your business could completely take over your entire life if you allowed it to? Put it in the comments, right? Okay, Una, we'll see you a bit later on. So, you know, like, you've got to decide what business it is that you are going to build, because if you are building something where you're going to be the face of it, or if you're building a business that you see yourself selling in future, then the business can't be too much about you, which means you need to be building your own personality, but you're building your personality as the thought leader, the change maker, the fire starter, the Kickstarter as such, and then the business will just be propelled by the public speaking presentations you give, the books you write, the webinars you deliver, the courses you create. You're basically driving people into that funnel, which then goes into the business, but you are the one that's ultimately creating all of that juicy exposure. But what's your vision for what, like, how much do you want to be a part of the business? And also get really clear on the vision for your life. It's so important you get clear about the vision of your life, not just the vision of the business. As business owners, we focus a lot on vision, don't we? In the 7-Step Brand Kickstarter, the first part of that is vision. But you go through the Kickstarter on your business. What is the vision of my business? Then you go through the Kickstarter on your product. What is the vision of this book? How many lives do I want this book to have touched? Who do I want this book to have touched? What kind of lives are they? Where are these lives hanging out? What pain is it that these people are in? So you go through that, the vision of the book, or what is the vision for your program? It's the same thing. It's just repeat it and just make sure that you know what the vision for that is, and what is the vision for your life that you want outside of your business. Because I'm taking a guess here, but most of the people that follow me, and maybe you are fall into this category as well, are people who are influencers and change makers who are on a mission to do something greater, to create a movement or a community, and to build tribe, and to really make a genuine difference, right? If that's you, give me a yes, yes, yes in the comments. Now, the key thing about that is that you are massively building a personal brand, but what can happen is, as the business owner, like I say, you get swallowed up by the business. What's really super important is that as you are building tribe and you're building community and you're building your movement, people are watching you. People are looking at how you act. They're looking at how you show up. They're looking at what you're doing, not just as a business point of view. They're looking at how you're showing up in every area of your life, because they're trusting the person behind the organization. They're looking at what you're doing, and that's really powerful. So that falls into like the next V that we're going to talk about, which is your values. It's being non-negotiable on your personal vision, and it's being non-negotiable on your personal values. So, for example, my personal values, my highest personal value is freedom. If I go and start working on a project that ties me in for too long, I just want to burst out. Like I've got wings. I just, I want to make sure that I can fly. And maybe you do as well. Like, share your personal values in here. I'd love to know what your personal values are. Because obviously I know quite a lot of you. I know your business values, but what are your personal values? So mine's freedom. The second highest core value is creativity. If I'm doing something that doesn't express my creativity, I'm dying. Literally, you see my spirit just start to shrivel up, and I can't function. It's really odd. I just can't do it. And it really comes down to values. And my third core value is quality relationships. So everything I do has to be about the quality relationship. If somebody goes against my quality relationship value, i.e. they do something that demonstrates they didn't care about the relationship, it crushes me. It absolutely crushes me, because it's one of my highest values. I treat people as I expect to be treated myself. And I find it very hard not to judge the situation. I don't know about you, but I really struggle with that. But I guess it's because it's one of my highest values that I struggle with that. If it wasn't a value of mine, I wouldn't care. But this is the thing. Once you know what your personal core values are, you need to build your brand around those personal core values. It's really important you do that, because otherwise you literally will get swallowed up by the business. And if anything happens to the business, you no longer have any identity. And that's what I found. Once I didn't have that business, I didn't have an identity. Your topmost value is integrity. Yes, Ruth, I could definitely vouch for that. Integrity is you all over. And what's beautiful about that, Ruth, is that you really walk, talk, live, breathe, eat and sleep integrity in everything that you do. And if there's anything that somebody does that compromises your integrity, I'm guessing that really does affect you in some way. It affects you because it's something you care about a lot. Well, the key thing here is that you start to build in that integrity into your personal brand and not just your business brand. So every post you put out, does this post demonstrate integrity? Is integrity at the very core of this? And you want to follow that up with your other two values. I always look at your three core values when I look at values. And of course then there's the element of color in that as well, because your values, each of your values has a color spectrum to it, and depending on your business model and your ideal customers and how you're growing your business, that will have a certain color and a certain shade of color. Where it comes to your personal values, it's no different, but it's more about you and the life that you live. So my life, because freedom is so important to me, like my life is just full of color. I demonstrate that. I walk, talk, live, breathe, eat and sleep. I wear all the colors. My businesses have got their own brand colors, but I'm like a mix of all of them. So whenever you see me chatting or talking about a topic that is my personal brand, like this one here, you'll see I'm wearing my brand colors. I'm wearing my one drop movement is a part of me, so I always have it on there. All of my colors, they're on me because it's part of who I am. So it does. You're right. Yeah, brilliant, Ruth. So when you're thinking about your values, and I have got a values exercise, it is for business, but you can use it for personal as well. If you go to sammyblindell.com, you can go just scroll down. I think it's in the startup resources. It's in one of the first two tabs, the first two drop downs when you get to the website. And go and do the values test and just reconnect with your values. If you've done it on your business, but you haven't done it on your personal brand, your personal identity, I really encourage you to go through that process again and try and forget what values you put as a business, and just see if there's an alignment actually between your personal values and your business values. I've quite a few times when I've done brand audits with people and they've gone through this values process and the values they tell me, and I'm sitting there thinking that's not the language you're using at all. And so I go and do my research on people. I watch their videos. I see, what is it that they're putting out to the world, and then I do a brand audit with them and I ask them what their values are. And I'm like, well, that's not the values that's coming out of your mouth. So be really, really clear and intentional around what values you're demonstrating with your topics that you're talking about, because it's really important that people know, like, and trust you, but also you're the god or goddess of first, last, and lasting impressions as well. Sorry if you can hear some creaking. It seems to be quite windy on the boat today. I can hear as we're moving around a little bit. So the third V is taking that next step further. So let's imagine you've got an absolutely non-negotiable personal vision, right? So because my vision is very much around freedom, and I live freedom so that I can be the very best demonstration of what financial freedom and life freedom looks like, what it looks and feels like, right? I aim to be that very best demonstration of those things, and hope that I inspire you in that way, that you can be free, and that you can have money, and that you can have amazing clients, and that you can be in love, and that you can have it all, because you literally can. And I aim to be that personal proof of that. And that's my vision for my life. And my values then kick in. Then all of this is non-negotiable. Anything, even if a business opportunity comes up now that it looks amazing, I mean, it could be a massive financial opportunity, and I look at it and quite often I'll say no to it, because it's going to compromise my freedom, or compromise my creativity, or it might compromise the quality relationships that I already have. And so I'm very non-negotiable around that. So vision, values. Now, if you're non-negotiable around your vision, you're non-negotiable around your values, there's certain things you're going to say yes to, and there's a load of stuff you're going to start saying no to. And what that does is it then drives that third V, which is your value. Because if you're non-negotiable and everything else, your value is going to escalate. Your value will actually accelerate pretty fast, because you'll have an energy about you that really does say, this is a classy person. This is a graceful, intentional person. This is somebody who really gets shit done, and they don't take any nonsense. But you don't have to be aggressive. Ruth, you're brilliant with this, when it comes to that kind of elegant assertiveness that you talk about. And I think that's a real key thing, is to, the more visible you become, the more elegantly assertive you need to be in those conversations, being able to say no, and being able to set up your diary, set up your calendar in a way that enables you to still be that personal brand. For example, many years ago, I learned this lesson many years ago. It's not quite so easy when I'm traveling around the world, but I think people are a bit more lenient when I do this. But I remember years ago when I won this client. This is when we had our design agency. I won this client, and it was, I just had a creative brain dump at about 11 o'clock at night. So I brain dumped this. I wasn't working late, but I brain dumped what was in my head into an email and said, let's discuss this over the next couple of days. Anyway, I sent that email. Well, I thought that that would be okay. I'm sending this email at 11 o'clock. They won't see it until the morning. Anyway, they came in, and their response to the email really shocked me. Instead of responding and saying, sounds great, let's have a conversation, let's chat about it, which is what I was expecting, what I got was, Sammy, are you too busy for me that you cannot send me an email during work hours? I was like, holy fuck. What have I just done? And I didn't realise how my personal brand had come across. Even though I wasn't working late, to that person, they look like I was working at 11 o'clock at night. Wow, if she's working at 11 o'clock at night, does that mean she's too busy for me? Do I need to find somebody else to work with? was what was going through her head. So we jumped on a call, and obviously I explained the situation. And from then on, I was very, very mindful. If I had a brain dump like that, I'd brain dump it and then I'd schedule it to go out the next day. So I was getting it out of my head, because I tend to be quite creative late at night. It's when I'm sat down and I'm not thinking, I haven't got any stress going on, and I'm not making calls or making videos or anything. That's my time when I'm switched off. So my conscious mind is reading or watching Netflix or whatever with Greg. My unconscious mind is going, ooh, what about this? And I go, ooh. I quickly tap it into my phone, or I'll dictaphone it into my phone now, so that I capture the energy of the idea, but I do not send it until the next day. So again, this is part of your personal brand. That taught me a massive lesson about standards and other people's standards. And whilst it's important that we absolutely create our own standards, we have to be respectful of other people's standards as well. So it's very interesting when you start to think about how I show up, what I do, who I am when I'm stressed, right? Who are you when you're really under pressure? Are you the same person? Do you find that you get more agitated? Do you work faster? Do you tend to just ignore everything else? And like, who are you when you're at your best, and who are you when you're not at your best necessarily? Because both of those things are showing up on social media. Let's come down here and have a hey Mark, good to see you. Ruth, I like the idea, schedule it to go out at a suitable time for your potential client. Yeah, absolutely. Like I say, when I started traveling around and I'd be in America, I would actually consciously write in the notes, if it was going to be a crazy time for somebody else, I would schedule it in. But more than often than not, if I'm in America and I'm sending an email back to somebody in the UK, it's not so bad because of the 5-hour time difference over there. But if it's the other way around and I have an idea here at 9 a.m. in the morning, and I send it off to somebody in the States, well, they're not going to get that until they wake up, but they're going to get it at 4 a.m. their time. So it's just being conscious about that. And if your personal brand is about integrity, then you want to make sure that the integrity of the intention is there as well. The integrity is there. You say, oh, I was going to send this email to you earlier, but I realized you would probably be in bed at that time, so I'm sending this to you a bit later in the afternoon, so you get it at a decent time for you. Just that little bit of forethought, really, it massively propels your personal brand, because you've made a real conscious decision about who you are and the values you demonstrate, and every action, and even every inaction around what you do it's being judged. It's either connecting or it's disengaging. It's either becoming a magnet or it's pushing people away. So get really intentional around the actions that you're taking, because it doesn't just reflect on the business brand, it reflects on your brand as well. So focus on the vision. What is your non-negotiable vision for your personal brand? How are you going to show up in such a way that your clients look at you and think, I want to be that person? What are you going to do that will create that conversation in their minds? What are your non-negotiable values, so that every action you take is one that is intentional, is creational, and is I can't think of the word right now, but is a way where you're enhancing the relationship, not taking away from, not detracting from the relationship. And what is your value? How are you going to stand absolutely in your power and own it and say, this is my non-negotiable energy. This is the non-negotiable spirit of my business. I won't do anything. I won't accept any work. I won't accept people's money. I won't speak on that stage. I won't be connected to that person. I'm really non-negotiable now. Like, I'm so careful about, people ask me to speak on their events and their virtual summits, and I want to be able to say yes to some of them, and then I look and I see who else is speaking, and I go back and say, I'm really sorry, I can't be part of the event this time. Let me know next time you're delivering this event, for example. Mark, I know you know one of those people, because we've come into contact. In fact, Ruth, you've had a good dealing with the same person. But you have to be totally conscious about how you're showing up, because that brand by association is also affecting your personal brand. So if you're like many years ago, I was supporting somebody. In fact, Ruth and I know each other as a result of being part of this same organization. And it really, like, I loved it. It grew me so much as a person and a personal brand. It was brilliant. But because I was helping that person so much, people started to associate me working for this person. They didn't see me with my own business and my own brand. They thought, because I was doing so much work with this person, that I was part of their business. Again, just be really intentional. Just step out of yourself, step out of your brand zone every once in a while, and just do a double check on who you're spending your time with, the things that are going out on social media. How are you showing up? And the key thing is, another thing we talk about at Brand Builders is, a big part of your personal brand is how you show up, and you might not even be conscious of it. Like somebody recently, I noticed they start their sentence, every single sentence they start with the word but. And that automatically, for someone like me, I just want to kind of repair that sentence. I don't know about you, but I just want to go, okay, why do you start each word? But you don't have to challenge somebody and how they're thinking. But, and then you look at the results of their life and you realize that their life is full of buts, right? Because that's the energy that's coming back to them. So that personal brand, it's like these filler words, isn't it? So I want you to look back at your videos, look back at the posts that you're putting out, and just check from a customer's point of view. Just look at that and do a little analysis on it. Are there words that you're using a lot that you don't even realize that you're using? Are there things that are happening unconsciously that you're just not even connecting to you? Like if you show up on time and you're always delivering on your promises and you're always the one with the biggest smile in the room, that's your brand. If you are always late, if you forget your content and you do it on a consistent basis, if it just looks unprepared, doesn't it? And when people look at you that first time, and it might be the first and only time they ever see you, they might not actually know you, but if that's the first and only time they're seeing you, then is that really building trust and credibility, or is that giving them the impression that that's how you are everywhere else? So I think there's some really key things for you to think about with your personal brand there. Thank you, Ruth. Some of those lessons I learned the hard way. Just important that we do learn. It certainly is. Well, if you've got any other questions about building your personal brand, or what to do, where to start, how to get going, then please drop me a message. Any ideas that you've got around content that you would like me to create for you around brand, building a personal brand, building a business brand, expanding your brand, building a global brand, whatever questions you have, please send them to me, because I'd rather create shows and content for you that actually solve a problem than for me to be sitting here thinking about some really nice things that I could do. But by the way, I'm really focusing on my YouTube channel right now, my How to Build a Brand channel. So if you go to youtube.com/how to build a brand, you'll see that my YouTube channel has had a bit of a rebrand. The amazing Ken Pointer from Misfit Marketing, he's taken over my YouTube promotion, and I spent all of yesterday filming a 7-part series on how to build a brand from scratch. So you're going to want to watch that. Even those of you that are in Brand Builders Club that are working with me directly, I put some really, really good strategic stuff in there that is step by step. Do this, then do this. Each video is between 10 and 20 minutes. And there's some really great juicy stuff in there. So do keep an eye on my YouTube channel. I'd love it if you could go and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll look forward to seeing you on a future Brand Builders TV show. Do look out for all the other shows that are coming up this week. And if you're a Brand Builders Club member and you haven't got your show booked in yet for this week, make sure you do. The world is waiting to hear your voice. So take care, have fun, be happy. Be that drop you want to see in the world, and I'll look forward to seeing you on another show sometime very soon. Take care. Bye-bye. I hope that you've enjoyed the show today as much as we've enjoyed making it for you. If you've got anything out of this episode, please do tell someone else how they can subscribe to the Brand Builders TV channel at youtube.com/brandbuilderstv. Why not join us at our next Brand Builders Thinkubator, a global mastermind that we run every week to take away the loneliness of being in business on your own. For more information and to book your place, visit light.brandbuilders.club/Thinkubator. That's light.brandbuilders.club/Thinkubator. Until next time, be the ripple that you wish to see in the world, and we'll see you soon.